So being a fourth grade special educator in New York City was a really tough job. And surprisingly, one of the most difficult parts was the summer because I had 2 months in the greatest city in the world and absolutely no money. So I got creative, and in the summer of 2008, I hit the circuit as a talk show audience member. I sat in the front row of the David Letterman show. I got to hug Seth Green when I was at the Wendy Williams show. And I even took the train to Stamford, Connecticut to hear the infamous words of Maury Povich. You are not the father. But this Nebraska kid's dream was to go to the show of his childhood crush. I'm talking 1997, Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition cover model, pink bikini wearing Tyra Banks. I just wanted to be at the show. Maybe I'd get to see her, get a hug, an autograph, a picture with her. Well, that dream came true, and I got a lot more than I bargained for. I arrived at her Chelsea studio that July morning and walked into a room of just beautiful, beautiful women, and then there was me. And within about 5 minutes of being in the studio, the hype man for the show bursts in. Hey everyone, we're excited to have you at the show. We need some volunteers for audience participation. Tyra today is gonna reveal the results of her Tyra Show sex poll. So if you're not comfortable talking about your sex life in front of the camera, you can wait till the second taping. Obviously, without hesitation, I followed this guy directly to the small room on the side. And pretty quickly, he started to ask some intimate questions. So, has anyone ever had sex in public? Well, not me, but one woman bashfully raised her hand, and he handed her a purple cue card with exactly what to say. I realized that all this shit was scripted. And it broke my heart, but this was my chance to see Tyra, so I'm in it. Next question. So, who's done any role play? Well, strike two. But a woman comes forward, and he gives her her purple card with some bullshit scenario about cheerleader and football player. And he has a couple more interactions, and finally he says, all right, guys, I have one more question. Has anyone had a threesome? Silence. And he looks directly at me. And he begins to ask me a question, and I stop and just say, I really want to be on the show, but I'm sorry, man, I haven't. He pauses and then asks me, the guy who up to this point in his life had slept with 2 women, separately, mind you, a question that I will never forget. He said, but you could imagine what it'd be like if you did. Absolutely, I said. And he handed me my purple cue card. He could see I was a little nervous when he was telling me about what my cue to speak was gonna be, so he said, hey, if you wanna ad-lib a little bit, it's okay, just kind of stick to the purple card. Wrong thing to tell me. So for the next hour, I crafted this story in my head and just told it over and over again, and then the time came. 45 minutes into the first taping of the show, there's Tyra Banks in front of me, in leopard pajamas, perched atop a bed that's sitting on her stage, and the audience applause wanes, and Tyra begins. According to the Tyra Show sex poll, 75% of people have not had a threesome. But Salvatore, I heard you have. So I proudly stand up. Is it Salvatore or is it Salvatore? It's Salvatore. So Salvatore, tell us. So Tyra, I'd been asking my girlfriend about this for a couple years. And last year on my birthday, I came home from work, and there she was with her best friend. And it was amazing. But I do have to admit, my relationship went downhill pretty quickly because I got a little too into her friend. And that's when I heard the oohs and the from the audience. And I was like, hell yeah, I just killed it. But then Tyra starts to crawl on the bed toward me like a lioness. And she wants to continue the dialogue. She says, oh, I see how it was. You had that old booty. You wanted that new booty. To which my brilliant response was, yes. And then I sat down. The rest of the show and the rest of the summer went off without a hitch until I got a call from the show's producer telling me that my episode was airing September 25th. Fuck. That was the third week of school. And let me tell you, fourth grader Alicia Acevedo did not disappoint. The day after the show aired, there she was at 8 a.m., standing in front of the classroom, badgering me about what she'd seen on TV last night. Mr. Negretti, I saw you on the Tyra Banks show last night. No, you didn't, Alicia. Yes, I did. You were wearing that green sweater and green tie that you've worn to work all the time. That observant little shit. How was I gonna get out of this one? So take a deep breath. Alicia, how could I have been at school all day yesterday, taught you until 3 o'clock, and then made it to the Tyra Banks show, which I know starts at 4, and been on there? The puzzled look on her face told me she hadn't yet learned the art of the taped episode. Disappointedly, she looked back up at me and said, Mr. Negretti, I guess it wasn't you. It must have been someone else. That's right, Alicia. Now sit down and start your work. While it was really, really hard to be a New York City teacher, it's even harder to be a Washington, D.C. vice principal. Because now it's my job and my responsibility to teach kids and teach some really young teachers the lessons in social media responsibility that Alicia taught me 9 years ago. So wherever you are, Alicia, thank you.